Lolita's Corner. I am glad to be before you guys again on tonight. I am so excited because tonight is our last episode of our second session. We did like 10 at the top of 2021, and we came back and we did eight episodes for the fall. And when I went back and reviewed, I mean, we have covered everything from finances to encouragement to servanthood to home ownership to how to get your hustle on legally after incarceration. Listen, we have covered a whole lot of things for everyday people with everyday topics. So I am just so honored that you all have supported Lolita's Corner. Come back. I'm coming back the end of January in the 2022 year. Excited with more guests, more refreshing information. Thank you guys so much. Listen, happy holidays to you. The holidays are coming up, and I get to spend my last episode with my girlfriend, my sister girl, my home girl, Ashley Perkins. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So glad to be here.
Yeah, you're looking beautiful tonight. Look at
Thank
you. Come
you
on now with the little cow collar, y'all. She stay fly, okay? So
too.
I get to spend my last episode of 2021, but I think it's going to be one of the best episodes because we're going to cover some topics that a lot of people are not quite aware of that we are passionate about because we do the work on a daily basis. Listen, keep up with me at Crumb Enterprises. Find me anywhere, social media, Instagram. We'll definitely have Ashley's information up, and we're going to delve into the good information that's out there today. So, listen, Ashley, I'm so honored that you are on the show. It's something when you get to see friends
hmm
uh, grow and see friends grow, mature, and see them reach the goals that they've had. I am just so excited for you to be on the call.
Thank
So, listen, you have this great company called Be Well,
Yes.
and give us a little snippet about what Be Well is and what Be Well does.
Absolutely. So, Be Well is a social and emotional learning provider. We develop social and emotional competence within at risk populations, ages 8 years to 24 years. We do this through psychoeducation, restorative practices, parent workshop, professional development, life skills small groups. So, we're resourceful. We try to cover everybody and make sure everybody is socially and emotionally well. Listen,
Good.
um,
Listen.
awesome.
Yes, that sounds like great work, right? So let me ask you this because I know people are listening to us and they hear us talking about social emotional learning. What is social emotional learning?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some misconceptions behind what social and emotional learning is. So it is the process. So let me say that I'm gonna emphasize it's a process of acquiring skills and knowledge in order to lead a successful life. Now, what happens is people tend to minimize social and emotional learning just to academic settings. Kids need SEL so they can do well in school. No, human beings need SEL so they can thrive at everything they put their hands to, which is why
Talk
Bell emphasizes the family, the youth and the family. We got to cover everybody because we want to be sure that the whole family unit is well, socially and emotionally competent, and have those necessary skills to thrive, be it in relationships, be it in school, be it at work, be it with the relationships with yourself. It requires that you have social and emotional skills, competence, knowledge.
And you know what I find interesting is when we talk about that, people don't associate social emotional learning. I always say it starts as early as infancy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's impacted by the culture of your upbringing,
Yes.
right? And your parents and how they raise you. And then your school culture play a part and your church culture plays a part of that. And then as you get older, those social emotional skills that you have learned along the way also impacts you in the type of employee that you are at work.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Right? So we
Absolutely.
don't look at it like that. So what are some social emotional I know you talked about relationships and people,
Hmm.
but what are some of those social emotional skills that
Absolutely.
has to be learned?
Yeah, so there's 5 areas of competence. So you have self-awareness, you have self-regulation slash self-management, you have relationship and social skills, you have social awareness, and my favorite, you have responsible decision making. And
Yes,
so those are the 5 areas of skill, right? And so within each of these areas, look at them as categories. There's different skills that you know how to do within each category. With relationship and social skills, you know how to communicate. With social awareness, you know how to empathize. With self awareness, you are able to identify your strengths, your weaknesses, your potential. With self regulation, you know how to identify your triggers and how to get yourself back into a state of calmness and grounding yourself. So, these areas of competence are the areas that everybody, again, not just kids, but
that's right.
human beings need in order to be successful at everything they put their hands to.
And you know, you said something very important. You talked about triggers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of things that can trigger people, and how you are to be able to somewhat handle that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are some high triggers now that we are faced with?
Oh,
And like you say, it could be, we talking about humans, so we talking about adults, kids. You know, I always say for kids, sometimes their trigger can be their parent, but you know, but it
yeah.
could be, it
It
could
could
be.
be. It
Okay,
could. You know what comes to mind for me now, Dr. Lowe, is sirens. The just the violence in communities. Our babies, you know, their parasympathetic system is constantly activated because they can't focus in school because they live in environments and in communities where they're constantly hearing sirens and they're constantly on guard, you know. So literally anything can be a trigger. Hearing an ambulance siren, hearing a big boom, someone raising their voice at you, even if they're not raising their voice at you, but they're just projecting their voice. People looking at you in your eye, people standing too close to you. So a trigger, I think it's important to define what a trigger is. A trigger
right.
is something that causes something to happen, right? And so that's why I say that anything can be a trigger. You know, the dark can be a trigger. You know, because our experiences is where triggers are bred, right? And
That's
so
true.
that's why it's important to know how to define what a trigger is, because sometimes when we don't know the definitions behind things, we're unintentionally ignorant and we're not able to
Right.
be attentive and connect with people with various experiences and backgrounds. And so I think it's important that we don't minimize what a trigger can be, just like we should minimize what trauma is, so that we can better, you know, journey with people and cohabitat and coexist in this world with people with different experiences.
That's true. And you just mentioned a very important word that a lot of people don't like to talk about, and I love to discuss it with the right type of people, and that's trauma,
Yeah.
right? A lot of times people don't even really know what trauma is. They don't even know how to identify, right, with trauma. And I think that we generalize trauma to just sexual abuse and
Yes.
physical abuse, and that, I don't want to say it, but it ticks me off, right? Because
Yeah.
that's not the only type of trauma that a person can experience.
Exactly.
Um, what are some other traumas that you could think of that
Mhm.
people could, experience?
Yeah. Sending a 2-year old into a grocery store with a $20 bill with a long list, grocery list, that's trauma.
Please tell the people.
That's trauma. You
Please.
know why? Because trauma is defined as any event that has a long lasting negative effect on a person mentally and emotionally, right? So it's not just limited to sexual abuse. Yes, that is an example, right?
That's
But it
right.
can be a car accident, it can be a terminal illness, it can be having to move frequently as a child. And like I
That's
said, you can
true.
be sending a 2-year old into a grocery store with a long list of groceries and expect them to
That's
come back with exact change. That's going to have an effect, a long lasting negative effect on an individual, you know? And so, again, as I said before, ignorance unfortunately can be bliss, because we're like, well, trauma it's just when someone gets, raped, or things
Right.
of that sort. But no, what happens is that it causes our hands to be tied, and it limits our ability to connect with others and empathize and be socially aware, because we've turned our ear off, we've turned our eyes from
That's
what
it.
trauma is. And so it's important to acknowledge that trauma is any negative experience that can have a negative, long lasting effect on a person mentally and emotionally.
And here's the thing too, long lasting for some people can
Mm-hmm.
be a lifetime.
Real lifetime, yeah.
And I say, if you listening to us and trauma has caused you that long lasting, right? Because some of the side effects from trauma is depression and anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
alcoholism
Mm-hmm.
becomes, get you some help,
Yeah.
get you a therapist, get you a group session, because it's needed.
Yeah.
I know someone that struggles with alcoholism, and I'm not an alcoholic, so
Mm.
I don't know what the mind goes through to be able to, experience that. But it's definitely from trauma, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever that trauma is for them, it's not for me because I'm like, I don't get it. You tripping,
Right.
but it's not a trip for them,
Right.
you know. So we have to be knowledgeable of that. And sometimes I think it's hard for people to really understand the impact that trauma has on some people. It affects their relationships with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely, it does.
it can be tough.
And it's just because it's just out of a place of ignorance. Now, ignorance is not a bad word, right? Ignorance
Right?
is simply you just being ill informed.
That's
And so it's important that you go after information. You are intentional about informing yourself. Well, why? Because you want to be able to connect better with people. You want to be able to
that's
understand
right.
people better. You don't want to be in a position where you're passing judgment falsely. You want to be able to, well, let me understand, why does so and so do this? Why is so and so easily offended? Why is so and so closed off? Don't judge. Lean into that, figure that out,
That's
explore
right.
that, because there may be some type of experience, traumatic experience at that, that has caused this person to place up these defense mechanisms to protect themselves from
That's
that
true.
traumatic experience.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. That is.
Mhm.
So, social emotional learning has become it's been a whole paradigm shift, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about when I was in social work over 15 years ago,
Hmm.
me talking about social emotional learning then, they thought I was crazy, right? So it has now evolved. People are becoming more aware and being more in tune with it, right? So now that it's here, people know that it's trauma. People know that it's the skills that they know. They know that there's some common core areas.
Hmm.
Now we're leading up to putting in place restorative practices,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, what are restorative practices? Because some people do not know. Give us a little feed on that. Let us know what it's about.
So it's an alternative to punishing an individual, and it is a lane that allows us to prioritize community relationships. So instead of me punishing you because you did something wrong and telling you what you need to do to fix what you did, I'm going to bring the two parties together to discuss what happened, because you don't often get the opportunity for the person who did the victimizing to hear how it affected the victim, nor does the victim get the opportunity to say, this is how you hurt me. I want you to hear that. And there's healing that happens in being able to share and be able to hear. There's a sense of ownership that is able to be taken when I get to hear, how did I wrong you? Right? There's healing that takes place, restoration that takes place when I can hear you say, I am committed to doing this moving forward. And so restorative practices, again, is all about, I want to emphasize repairing what's broken instead of telling you how I feel and just accepting that this is going to be broken forever. And
Right.
it also gives the person an opportunity to learn from what they did, not just the victim, the person who did the victimizing, but also the victim. I want to learn from this situation. And so again, the emphasis is restoration, repairing what's broken, and prioritizing healthy relationships and giving an opportunity to preserve relationships.
That's good. That's good. But now you know it's some people listening. So saying if it's related to kids, them kids need to get a spanking.
Yeah.
Beat up, jacked up. No. So when I think of restorative, I do think about uh old old sayings of a child needs to be spanked and things of that nature. And I believe that that has a place. Let
It
it be
has to
known
play.
we just want to believe it. It has a place,
It has
right?
to be well believe it to know.
Right. Hello. Train up a child. No, let me. So I also know that when working with youth, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say youth and teens, this is a practice that I needed that is needed because trauma
Yeah.
has made an impact on behavior.
Right.
That behavior is then acted out, and
Mm-hmm.
no one is addressing the behavior
Right.
other than saying this kid is bad, they're out of control, it's a problem. Well, you know what? You know why little Johnny hit you today? He was angry because he didn't eat breakfast this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he really didn't mean to hit your baby, but your baby was just in the way and he was hungry, he got hit. That's not 100% situation, but it does happen.
It does happen.
It does happen. You'd
It
be
does.
amazed how many kids come to school hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the issue is they're hungry. Come
Mm-hmm.
on, when we don't eat, we cranky.
Yeah.
We get
Grown
a little
folks
irritable.
get cranky.
Huh?
I said the grown folks even get cranky.
Listen, what do you mean? It is time to eat.
Yeah.
So, we have to think about it from that area. Right now, um, it concerns me now with the youth. And I
Yeah.
speak from that because I work with youth, teens, and young adults, and I see the impact that social emotional learning has and don't have,
Yeah.
and the effects of trauma and how it impact kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even now, I know of a situation. Mom is handicapped. She has a boyfriend. The boyfriend is help raise her kids that is not his kids. She has a very attractive 14-year-old daughter that's looking 16. You know where I'm going with it, right? So we don't know if she's being touched or not touched. You have a teenager that's in high school that's a male that is cooking, cleaning, helping to provide, and your boyfriend is sitting on the couch and you wonder why he's going to school with an attitude. You know, that's trauma. We don't realize it, but it's trauma because you've moved him in that space. You've moved him to the side as your son, but yet you want him to man up to be a man. Now we're not gonna get deep tonight because we talking about social emotional learning and restorative practices. But then you want to know why he has an attitude and he has an issues in high school and he struggles with expressing himself and then he retreats to his room quiet in silence and he plotting to blow up a school. And it started from one thing that escalated up, right? Nobody stopped to say, now why you hit this little boy, or why you're having an issue right here, or why the little girl is always beating up little boys because she don't like little boys because it's a male that is touching her inappropriately. We could go on and on and on, but this is what we're talking about when we say catching it when he had that first fight and get to the root of the issue. Because I say restorative justice is nothing but old school deliverance.
All right. You just provide a space to get to the,
Yes,
you provide a safe space for the child to
yes,
be able to say, here's what's really going on. Here's what's
yes.
really behind my poor choices, right? Oftentimes it's a cry for help. Oftentimes It is an opportunity to fight. Is there opportunity to defend themselves? And so, restorative practices is just all about being able to restore something that's broken. And sometimes it's not even just something that's broken between two individuals. Sometimes it's something that's broken within the individual. And so,
Exactly.
restorative, practices is a powerful alternative for, I'm not about to just focus on punishing you. Consequences are consequences. The consequences are going to be
Right.
there, you like them or not, right? And so restorative practice, I want to clear this up. It's not a lack of accountability. Is not a lack of consequences. It's along with these consequences, can we learn from this? Can we heal from this? And
Right.
so it's a powerful tool.
It is a powerful tool if it's used right. And now I'm seeing more and more um, education sectors.
Yep.
Right. I know that a lot of public school systems are beginning to really teach this. If there's educators or parents on the line, is there any resources that you recommend that they look into, or a book that may be good, or anything of that nature?
Are you talking to me or are you talking
I'm
to you?
talking. I'm talking to you.
Oh, I'm thinking we waiting for the people.
Well, we did have one person said that this was great information and it's much needed.
That's hilarious. I thought you
Yeah,
was
yeah.
you
I mean, but for parents, because there are some educators, I'm sure
yeah.
there's some books out there,
Mhm.
or some resources. Is there a couple you can recommend to us?
You know what I would encourage, what I personally have done, I would encourage you personally, if you have the time, become a certified circle keeper. Look into becoming a certified circle keeper. I am a certified circle keeper, which places me in a position to be able to be certified in restorative practices. So that's the one thing I would really encourage, that if you have the time, and there are free opportunities out there. The one that I went through,
Now
free.
I'm jealous because I don't think you told me that. You get on this live and tell these people. Wait till I. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the one that I went through was free. And basically, what you had to do with the one that I did was you had to provide why you deserve to go through it without having to pay. And I guess I convinced them because I didn't have to pay. But yeah,
Come on now.
powerful 5 day. So I would encourage that, guys. If you have the time, become certified as a circle keeper. Secondly, I would just encourage you to just do your own further research, read articles, read best practices, watch actual circles being done. This is also being done in the judicial system. Most
Yes, it
powerful
is.
thing, watching somebody who just murdered someone's son or murdered someone's brother come into the same space and hugging afterward, saying I forgive you. People don't always get that space, being able to hear I'm sorry from the person that took something prized from them. I mean, it's just beautiful. Something that I want to share that was brought to my attention too was that, think of restorative practices as is keeping the person in the community, because oftentimes when we're quick to exile, we're losing say go way back to the tribal days, right? In the village days, where you had the person that was good at war, you had the person that was good at crafting things,
Right,
the person that was good at all these different things, right? Well, because they just made you mad, you like get out. Well, now you just threw away your best warrior. Now you
right,
just threw away the one that's the best at crafting things. And so it's all about, hey, we no, we, for the sake of the community, for the sake of the future, we can't just toss them out. No, we need to
that's
come
right.
together. We need to fix this, because the health of the community depends on fixing this relationship. And so I encourage that you go way back and you look to the origin of it, which is tribal practices. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
origin of why they did this, because they didn't have law enforcement. That was their law enforcement.
That's right.
That's how they fixed the community, protected the community, and preserved the community. They came together and said, what did you do? How did it make that person feel? What are you committed to doing moving forward? And so I would just
Mm-hmm.
encourage you all just doing some further research on your own and learning more about the actual origin of. restorative practices and how it has evolved, and now how it's used in schools, in the judicial system, and right in homes, right? Where you
Look,
say, hey, everybody come in this living room, let's sit down. So and so heard so and so. How'd that make you feel, so and so? You know,
right.
so
And
it's
that's, and you know, that's funny you said that, because that's such a key part that I think families miss. I think about my siblings because they are much older than I am the younger. But I listened to them, and being the youngest, I wasn't around like that. But to hear them talk about being at a dinner table, eating as a family, and mom asking, how was school? What happened? You had that fight. How did that fight make you feel? Did you beat them up? Whatever the conversation is, right? I think that is missing, and believe it or not, it was one of my, when I lived in Georgia, it was one of my studies that I fussed about, because I love the creative curriculum and I love for kids to be served as family style dining. And that was one thing I liked about teaching in pre-K and kindergarten, because they were able to have that actual experience. So listen, Ashley, how can the people find you? Because honey, listen, you didn't gave them some nuggets. They like, listen, I need to hire her, and I need you guys to definitely go ahead, hire her, because I need a gift. Okay.
please hire me. No, so you can find me at bewelltools.com. That's bewelltools.com. You can also, as Dr. Lewis provided, my email, aperkins, APERKINS, at bewelltools.com. And so, yeah, just reach out. I'll tell you more. There is not a space that we are not resourceful. And so you can definitely find that out and jump on my website. And if you're interested, if we can support, if we can partner, there's no opportunity too big or too small. And you just reach out.
Listen, I thank you for coming on the show. You guys, Lolita's Corner, bring it all. Okay? We talking social, emotional, mental, finances, money. Listen, relationships. Listen, the relationship show was so hot. We have a standing date and time in the 2020 year to come back. So I am really excited. I thank you all so much for your support this year in launching this. It came out of my business book, The Global Plug Resource Guide. If you don't have it to business, it has some hot systems, tools, and resources in it for you to go greater in 2022. So I recommend that you get it. And I began to interview the people in the book, and it took its own course. So you just never know what lane and journey that the Lord will have you to take. So I'm so glad that my girlfriend came on today. Y'all know I'm gonna talk to her about coming on here quarterly to get y'all in order with their restorative practices, maybe in summer. Oh, I just had a download. Okay. Oh my goodness, help me.
Lord.
So so, Ashley, what would you say to our people, our guests, as we wrap up the show on tonight?
You are not too old, not too young to sharpen those 5 areas of social and emotional skills. Like I said, it's not just about academics. You need these skills in order to just be a functioning, healthy human. And so, whenever you have an opportunity to sharpen those skills and to learn how to hone those skills, take advantage of it. If you want to improve the quality of your life, take a look at some of those areas that you're lacking so that you can improve the quality of your life.
That's it. Listen, improve the quality of your life. Happy holidays, blessings in 2022. I'll see you guys in the new year. Blessings. I love you all. Ashley, thank you again. And I'll
You
see you guys soon.
have a good one. Bye bye.